Tumbler. If you know, you know. I swear to God they drafted him in so he could go to the footy. I don't get me wrong, some people are going to watch this and roll their eyes and be like, get a grip, love. I think I'd make myself vulnerable because I'd allow myself to get my hopes up. I was a bit like, do I have like a wide fandango? Hey guys, I'm Amy May and it is early. The cats were not for a lie-in, I will tell you that. I'm on my second coffee and it's not even 7 AM. But I thought, you know what, if I'm not going to get any sleep, I may as well try and film this video before I go to work. I just know it's going to hit 12 and I'm going to be like, rousable only to pain. But I don't know, I need to keep going while I've got the energy. Today we're going to talk about 5 things that no one tells you about massive weight loss / GLP-1 addiction. I'm Amy May. I've lost 80 pounds in 18 months using the help of Mounjaro. If you're one of my regular viewers, you'll be sick of hearing me say it. It's like my height. You're just waiting for me to mention my height. But anyway, here are 5 things that people don't really talk about enough when it comes to massive weight loss. And I think a lot of you guys will probably relate and have similar experiences. Now, a really big one for me is that it can take a while for your mind to catch up with your body. And some days my mind isn't there. And what I mean by that is it takes a while for you to realise how far you've come. And a lot of the time you may still feel like, you know, you're 50, 100 pounds heavier. It takes a while for your mind to catch up. Because for me, as somebody who's been obese my entire life until recently, yes, I've lost weight, gain weight, lost weight, gain weight. I have been smaller, I have been just overweight before. As somebody who's been obese for 99.9% of my life, I think my mind struggles to recognise my new body. And I will say that previously when I was obese, I look back at pictures of myself now and it's strange because I knew I was obese, I knew I was big. I was only wearing joggers with elasticated waistbands. I didn't really know what size I was because I was never wearing jeans. It's interesting because I look back at pictures of me now, a year and a half ago, at the start of my Mounjaro journey. Definitely not the start of my first weight loss journey. I've been on a million of them. But even though at the time I knew I was obese, I wasn't happy with how I looked. I look back at pictures and videos of that time and it's almost like a shock to me, like I don't realise how big I was, even though I did know at the time. But in the same sort of vein, sometimes looking at myself in the mirror now and looking at pictures of me now, I still feel big. Don't get me wrong, I can see that I've lost weight. Like I look in the mirror and I'm not saying that I see me at nearly 200 pounds, but I would not refer to myself as skinny, I would not refer to myself as thin, because that's not how I feel. Now, obviously recently you've seen me doing a lot of clothes hauls. I'll put a link to my Urban Outfitters haul and also to my recent gym haul, which has got a wide range of stuff. But I didn't buy new clothes for months and months when I was losing weight. I did not buy new clothes for months and months and months. And I think part of that was I was afraid, what if this is too good to be true? Because like many fat people that I've spoken to or have shared their experiences with me, my entire life I'd been on a diet almost constantly. I'd always been trying to lose weight, and sometimes I'd lose a bit of weight but then I'd put more back on. So I think part of me didn't want to buy new clothes because I was like, what if this doesn't last? What if this gets taken away from me? What if I start gaining the weight back? What if I gain more weight? So I think that was definitely part of it. So I honestly, yes, now I'm buying clothes left, right and centre, but don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. To be honest, I think the first actual real clothes haul that I did was December. So that was about 8 months after I'd started. And I think part of it was I was scared it was too good to be true and it would all be taken away from me. And also I think following on from that, another part of me was sort of like, if I buy new clothes now, I think there was a part of me that felt like, will that be it? Will I have jinxed it? Will I be stuck at that size? Because don't get me wrong, it took me a long time. It took me probably about a year to get to a healthy BMI. And so I think another part of me thought, oh, but if I do a big clothes haul now and buy clothes now, A, what if I put the weight back on? Or B, what if I jinx it and I get stuck and I stop losing weight? And I think I also didn't want to know what size I was because it was still obese, it was still overweight. You know, I was still a UK size 16 or whatever. Honestly, I was wearing my size 16, 18 pants until very recently. And then I was wearing my size 12 pants until recently as well. And they fit me fine. I was a bit like, do I have like a wide fandango? I was like, why do these fit me fine? But honestly, I was wearing my size 16, 18 pants until I was like a UK size 10. I'm not going to lie. So I think a large part of me thought that if I buy new clothes now and acknowledge that I've lost weight, that could mess it up, that could jinx it, you know, could get taken away from me. However illogical you may think it is, I think a part of me did think, if I acknowledge it, if I recognise this, it'll get taken away. I sort of just kept going. I knew I was losing weight and I knew I was on the right track, but I didn't want to sort of, put pressure on it, because I felt like as soon as I acknowledged it, as soon as I recognised it, bought a new wardrobe, I was terrified it would all get taken away from me. And I think people who have been fat or obese for most of their lives, I think you may relate to that. I spent my entire life desperate to be thin. I spent my entire life desperate to lose weight. Honestly, until right before I started Mounjaro and decided to give it another go, I basically spent a good 99% of my life on a constant diet. And even if I did lose some weight, I'd gain it all back and more. So I think a large part of me thought, I don't want to stress it, I don't want to put pressure on it. If I acknowledge it, if I buy new clothes, A, I'm still obese, I'm still overweight, so I won't be happy with the size, but B, it could ruin it. If I bought new clothes, then suddenly it would become too real. And I think I'd make myself vulnerable because I'd allow myself to get my hopes up. And at the back of my mind, it was like, what if this is all taken away from me? What if the Mounjaro stops working? What if I can't get Mounjaro anymore? What if I just start gaining weight? What if I stop losing weight? So I think it exposed me, I think in my mind, if I bought a new wardrobe, that made it too real. And obviously I've got my hopes up in the past. I've tried every diet going, honest to God. I'll make a video on all the ridiculous fad diets I've tried. But, you know, I'd never managed it before. So there was a massive part of me that was terrified. That it's like, if I was happy to keep going, but I was like, nah, like, we're not going to put pressure on it, we're not going to make it real because it could be taken away at any moment. A large part of that for me as well is growing up fat. I spoke about this before, but it's the mentality. It's not just being obese, it's all the life experiences that you have, all the negative experiences, and what that does to your confidence, to your self-worth, to your self-image. So growing up fat, it puts you in a certain frame of mind, it puts you in a certain mindset. And I would say to this day, I still have that sort of fat mentality. Obviously, I know that I've lost weight. Obviously, I say that I'm thin presenting, and some people don't understand that, but I wouldn't class myself as one of the skinnies or as a thin person. And I think it does even make me uncomfortable, because I had a patient the other day, she's lovely, but like she was just saying, oh, like you're lovely and thin and stuff, and that did make me a bit uncomfortable. Like, she meant well, she was trying to compliment me, but even when people say that, I kind of, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm not. But that's to do with the mentality, that's to do with how I feel. Because to me, the word thin, the word skinny applies to people who have always been like that and who haven't experienced obesity. Other people might not get where I'm coming from. I feel like I'm rambling, but it's the mindset. It's the mindset you're in. So even now, I'd say I'm thin presenting. Obviously, like, I don't get me wrong, some people are going to watch this and roll their eyes and be like, get a grip, love. Like, you're thin. Like, I know that. But the mindset, the sort of, the frame of mind that I'm in, yes, I've lost weight, but I'm not one of them, if that makes sense. I feel like the forever skinnies, watch my video on 5 things skinny people will never understand, but I feel like the forever skinnies and people who have previously been obese and lost weight, I feel like they are 2 separate groups because they don't have the same experiences. So I'd say I'm thin presenting, I'd say I'd pass as thin, which I know is ridiculous, I understand that. I obviously wouldn't say it out loud to anyone else, but just between us friends. But it's a mindset, it is a mindset. I can't even remember where I was going with this. So yeah, it takes a while for your body to catch up, For the first, I'd say 8 months, I knew I was losing weight, but I couldn't really see it. And it wasn't until I looked back at pictures and videos of the start of my journey that I really noticed a massive difference. Which is why in my video, 5 things I'd do different if I started Mounjaro now, I would have took more measurements and took more pictures and videos. Because even though I was ashamed of myself, which, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you have to be ashamed of yourself if you're fat, that's how I felt within myself. Even though I was embarrassed and ashamed, I wish I took more pictures and videos and measurements back then. Because honestly, when you're in that sort of frame of mind and you're not recognising how much you've progressed, it really helps to look back and be like, actually, I have. So yeah, number 1, it will take a while for your bodies to catch up. I still have days where I don't recognise how far I've come, but then I have days when I look in the mirror and I'm like, damn, you actually have done this. You have achieved this lifelong dream of yours. I think if you'd have asked me throughout my life, make a wish, it would be to lose weight. That's been my primary goal. That's what I've been praying for, dreaming for my entire life, to not be obese. Because it comes with a lot of mental turmoil, and it comes with a lot of bullying, harassment, and your self-image and your self-worth is on the floor. So number one, it takes a while for your mind to catch up. Number 2, you are probably going to have loose skin. If you lose a large amount of weight, even if you lose it sort of slowly or without GLP-1s, because the things that people say, for example, hair loss, hair thinning, osteoporosis, that's not unique to GLP-1s. Don't let them fool you. That's fast weight loss. And with GLP-1s, they recommend that you lose 1 to 2 pounds a week. And I think other than the first 2 weeks, I lost about 2 pounds a week, minus the stalls, but I lost about 2 pounds a week. So number 2, you are going to have loose skin. If you've got a large amount of weight to lose, you are going to have loose skin. Now, I've took a few clips of my loose skin, which I'll let play in the background as I rabble on. It doesn't matter what collagen supplements you take, how many TikTok hacks you follow, if you've got a large amount of weight to lose, and I suppose as well, if you've been obese for a long time, you are going to have the loose skin. The skin's been stretched for a while, and now it's trying to adjust, it's trying to come back. Often the only way to get rid of this loose skin is surgery. I don't know if I'd be I'll do another video on potential. At the minute I can't afford it. It's a moot point. And I do have other things in my life that I want to save up for that take priority. Rent, for example. You are probably going to have loose skin. Don't get me wrong, there was a period of time, I want to say September last year, where I took collagen powder and I put it into my coffee. I got it from Holland & Barrett. It was flavourless collagen powder because I'd ordered some collagen pills off Amazon, but they were massive and they made me gag, and I think I took them for a day and then I was like, I can't do this anymore, because they were huge and I'm sure they advised you take 2 a day or something, and I think they tasted a bit minging as well, and I was like, I can't do this. So I did get a box of the collagen powder from Holland & Barrett. Holland & Barrett had me by the throat for a while, but it wasn't cheap, it was very expensive, the collagen powder. So then I haven't took it in months, because when I think I bought 2 boxes, when the second box ran out, that was it. I was like, I can't afford this. To be honest, I don't know if it would have made a massive difference. I don't think it would. At the end of the day, skin is stretched, skin is less stretched, it's going to be a bit wrinkly. I think what I will say, I did notice loose skin in places that I didn't expect. So for example, that's the thing, people, this is why I'm like thin presenting or whatever. When you see me stood up with clothes on, obviously you can, like, I've lost weight, right? But when I sit down, as you can see in some of these videos, it's like all the skin pools. It's like I sort of melt, if that makes sense. So one of the places that I didn't really expect, because I'd had loose skin on my arms and my stomach from before, because I lost, I think, 50 pounds when I was like 19 and then put more back on. But I've had loose skin on my stomach and my bingo wings ever since. Obviously now I do have more loose skin. Shall I show you? Shall I get my belly out? Hang on. I can't get off. I've got cramp. Can you see? I can't see from here where I am. So like obviously this situation, obviously I've got more loose skin now and it has got worse. But when I sit down, like I said, it is sort of like I melt. It's like I'm a candle in heat. So the outside of my thighs, I wasn't really expecting that. When I sit down, all the loose skin from my legs sort of pulls to the outside of my thighs and like around the bum area. honestly, the saddest thing is I used to have an absolute bum. I mean, I still have a bum, but it used to be big. It used to be astounding. And now I'm trying to claw it back. But that's the biggest change for me. That's the biggest upset, is my bum is gone. Like, I used to have an absolute shelf, and now there's nothing there. So I am trying to build that up this year. But anyway, so loose skin outside of my thighs and it pulls. And also, this is what I've noticed more recently, is loose skin on the inside of my thighs, because it was a bit flabby, it was a bit loose. But I think when I sort of reached a healthy BMI, the loose skin on the inside of my thighs, it's wrinkly. Like I'll look down and it's like I've got big wrinkles on my legs. Whereas before it was just a bit flabby, but it wasn't so wrinkly. When I sit down, I melt essentially. Loose skin on my stomach is very prominent. My belly button is hidden. Thing is, honestly, one of the things that I always wanted when I was younger was to get my belly button pierced, but I was too embarrassed. I was like, oh no, I can't do it because I'm fat. I mean, there was nothing stopping me. Being fat wasn't physically stopping me, but mentally it was, because I didn't want to get my belly out. And also, I never wore clothes that showed my belly. To this day, I don't really. I do like to have my belly button tucked in. Like, yes, I'll wear cropped numbers, but because I'm short, they're not actually that cropped on me. And usually the skirt or the shorts, they'll be right up over the belly button. So even though it's cropped, you still can't see the area. But I remember when I was younger, I really wanted to get my belly button pierced. And my sister got hers done, and it looked amazing. I was like, oh, I wish I could have that done. Like I said, there was nothing stopping me other than my fear. But now, as you can see, I don't really have a belly button. It's hidden under folds of loose skin. And I was Googling it, you know, like, get your belly button pierced after weight loss. And some people were saying it takes a special belly button piercer to do it because of how, I don't know, how the skin is. Otherwise, your belly button will reject the piercing or something. Now, don't get me wrong, I've had a lot of manky piercings in my life. I've had a lot of dodgy piercings, and truth be told, the worst experience I've ever had was at this reputable tattoo parlour, and it cost me, I think for 3 piercings, I can't even believe I paid this. It was very impulsive. I literally just booked it like the morning of, and I think there was a footy match on. The guy there, I swear to God, they drafted him in so he could go to the footy. It cost me like 165 quid for 3 piercings. They all went infected. And I'm not even convinced he did it. Well, he didn't do it right. I genuinely think they drafted him in, like got the random brother or something while they went off to the match. It was like a Sunday, and also you couldn't pay. It was basically cash or bank transfer. So like these 2 men stood there like this while I bank transferred. And to be honest, I was too scared to say anything after. I was fuming. Whereas I'm not gonna lie, I've been to some dodgy hole in the wall and got 2 piercings for a tenner. Stunning. Nothing wrong with him. So, that's my lesson there. But anyway, I'm digressing again. So yeah, so I would like my belly button pierced. Do have a lot of loose skin on the belly. Obviously the bingo wings. Now, even though I've been working out a lot, you'll have seen my workout videos. If not, check some of them out. I've got a gym playlist, but no one really watches them. That's the thing, the videos I like doing, the vlogs, the clothes hauls, like, no one really seems asked about them. I do understand that, like, I'm a Manjaro channel, but guys, I'm not just a Manjaro channel. But anyway, yeah, I would like my belly button pierced, but my belly button is now kind of hidden. And I'll do another video about whether I'm going to get surgery for loose skin, because it's convoluted. My arms, I still have massive bingo wings on my arms, like a lot of loose skin on my arms. I can tell, however, my arms have grown in muscle, if that makes sense, but it's difficult to tell whether that's tightened up any of the loose skin, because there is still a lot of loose skin. So I may have to see. To be honest, I wish I took videos of my bingo wings before as well, like specifically of my bingo wings, because it's difficult to tell if the loose skin is tightened at all, or if it looks reduced because I've grown muscle. But I have definitely built muscle. No matter what TikTok hacks you do, no matter what Holland and Barrett sells you, if you've got a large amount of weight to lose, if you've been obese for a long time, then you probably are going to have loose skin. But that's fine. That's nothing to be ashamed of. There are belly button specialists that do it. You know, you're not going to necessarily look like the models. I remember when I was like 13, honestly, if you're too young or old for this, be grateful. Tumblr. If you know, you know. That was a toxic place. And it was like all these, oh, I don't even want to go there. I don't even know if you're allowed to say it on the internet anymore. But, you know, and there was like pictures like just basically telling you not to eat, and like, oh, nothing tastes as good as skinny feels, and everyone had the flat stomach. It was a toxic environment for young teenage girls, let me tell you. It was a toxic environment for anyone. But, you know, and I used to dream like, I want a body like that, I want a body like that. But realistically, if you've been obese a long time, your body's not necessarily going to look like that, and that's fine. I mean, their bodies probably don't even look like that. You know, Photoshop's a thing. To be fair, I'm not really that bothered about it. I'm not really that bothered about it because, yes, I'd rather not have the loose skin. I'd rather not have it. Sometimes I feel self-conscious about it because I would like to get my belly out, and I would like to get my belly button pierced, but it's not that deep. I'd much rather be stood here now, a healthy BMI, feeling so much better in myself and so much more confident with loose skin than I would nearly 200 pounds at 4'11". There you go, got the height in. It's like all these inspirational quotes, pick your heart. I don't like any of that, but you're not going to look like the Tumblr post, and that's perfectly okay. Also, I think I was in denial for a long time, but I do accept that my hair has thinned. Thing is, I've always molted. I used to have really thick hair, and I've always molted, but looking back at pictures of my hair before and like how I am now, I will admit, I do think I was in denial a bit about the hair thinning. I feel like I'm going to be late for work, I'm not going to lie. Despite the fact I've been up since 4:45, that's the thing, the more time I have, the later I am. So number 3, people do treat you better. People do treat you better, which probably doesn't come as a shock. And I think that's a combination of things. Firstly, we know that society doesn't value fat people. We know that it's acceptable to laugh at fat people, to stigmatise fat people. And we know that people value skinny people more. That's just a fact. That is just spitting some truth there. Okay, so that's the first thing. That is just, you know, at baseline, people don't respect fat people. Secondly, I do think part of being treated better is because I've gained a lot of confidence, as you guys will have known. As you guys will know if you've watched my channel from the start. If not, there's a Manjaro playlist, guys, get cracking. You can see me at 188 pounds. You can see me. You can see how nervous and timid and shy I was. Oh, I'm not sure if this is going to work, but I may as well try it. God bless me. If God was real, he could bless me, right? So another part of it is, as you gain confidence, as you come into yourself, I used to always be afraid to take up space. I always used to be constantly aware of how much space I was taking up. Didn't feel like I could have a voice because I was fat. However, now I allow myself to exist. I don't feel as uncomfortable just existing anymore. I don't feel as uncomfortable just being in a space with other people in. I don't feel as uncomfortable being alive as before, if that makes sense. Like mentally uncomfortable, emotionally uncomfortable. And so I think I come across brighter because of that. Because I've got more confidence, I feel less awkward. Because obviously when you feel awkward, when you feel shy, when you feel out of place, that shows. So I think part of it is, at baseline, everyone just treats skinny people better. That's just the truth. And part of it is, as you come into yourself, as you find your voice, as you find confidence, you are a brighter person to be around. You are sort of more receptive of kindness. Like before, maybe if someone complimented you, you might think they were taking the mick out of you. But once you're brighter, once you're more confident, you radiate sort of more positive energy. And I think people respond to that as well. Number 4, and this is a massive one, it will completely change your life. This past 18 months has definitely been a defining period of my life for me. I'm not saying it's going to automatically solve all your problems and make your life better, but it will change your life. I know that in the past, obviously, like I said, yo-yo dieted, lost weight, gained weight, but I remember I used to always look at pictures of the periods where I had managed to lose some weight and I was wearing clothes that I liked, or I didn't feel as awkward, and I used to look back at pictures after I'd put the weight on and I'd put more weight on. I used to look back at those rare, precious pictures, and I used to pine for that. I used to yearn for that, and I clung on to it. It got to the point where it had been 5 years since, that picture was taken, but in my mind I was like, remember that. I was clinging on to it. I was clinging on to the past because I just kept trying and failing to lose weight. And I look back at those pictures and I was like, oh, like, you know, I wish I looked how I looked then. And I to be honest, I think even when I lost weight before, I was still in the overweight BMI category. Even when I lost 50 pounds, I was still in the overweight BMI category. But I yearned for that. I clung onto it for dear life. I just, honestly, I used to look back at pictures and get really sad and really upset and be like, oh, you know, when you were 19, you lost 50 pounds. And I was desperate. I was desperate to lose weight because, like I said, and as I've reiterated many times, it's the fat mentality. You've all seen my confidence grow over the past 18 months, and it definitely has, which is why I think Mounjaro has completely changed my life. Obviously, you've seen yourselves, I put the graft in. I'm not having anyone say, you know, oh, easy way out. You've seen me put the graft in, but Mounjaro has given me self-confidence, I think, for the first time in my life. For the first time in my life, I have self-confidence. I'm not afraid to take up space anymore. Obviously, you know, I still get shy and a bit awkward at times, but it has completely changed my life. Now, the reason I say it's not immediately going to solve all your problems, I always used to think, oh, you know, like, when I'm thin, I'll be happy. When I'm thin, if I can just lose X amount of pounds, I'll be happy. And don't get me wrong, I am so much happier, but that doesn't come from how I look necessarily. Obviously, I don't want to say it's completely not how I look, because that is part of it, but that being said, it's because now I'm this size, I can wear nice clothes that I like. Urban Outfitters, obviously, guys, obviously. But, you know, I wouldn't have been able to wear this. I wouldn't have been brave enough to try a style like this, because it is a bit, I don't know, it's kind of giving Handmaid's Tale, but I really like it, if that makes sense. But I wouldn't have fit into clothes like this. I wouldn't have had the confidence to try clothes or to try different styles. And none of the clothes in the styles that I like would have fit me. So for me, yes, I'm a lot happier now, but that has largely come from the amount of confidence that I've gained now that I'm skinny presenting. Because not only do I feel like I've accomplished a massive thing, which I have, but the most significant thing for me, and the thing I want to stress, is the self-confidence it's given me. Because before, obviously a lot of people may relate to this if you've been obese, especially your whole life, I felt worthless. I had no self-esteem, I had no self-worth, and I got trapped in this dark cycle. So in the past, when bad things happened, I blamed myself, or I didn't see anything better for myself, if that made sense. I put up with a lot of stuff that I shouldn't have put up with. I don't know how to describe it, it's quite difficult. In the past, bad things happened and I blamed myself. I didn't see any value in myself. I was just accepting of it. I was like, this is it, this is my lot in life. But what this weight loss has given me is the self-esteem and self-confidence. And by it won't solve all your problems, what I mean is, you know, those bad things still happened, those traumatic things still happened. I still have a lot of things that I need to address and a lot of things that I need to work through. But what weight loss has allowed me to do is be in a place to do that, and giving me the self-esteem, self-worth to not get trapped in this negative cycle where I think I'm worthless, I blame myself. I am now in a position where I can work through certain things and where I can address certain things without being trapped in a cycle where I feel like I'm completely worthless, so I'm just accepting the bad things. And, you know, it's a vicious cycle that you get trapped in. I'm in a much better place than I was 18 months ago. I can't even tell you, a much better place. So yes, Mounjaro, GLP-1s, weight loss, it's not going to solve all your problems, but for me it's put me in a position that has allowed me to address things that I need to address to move forward. Because when I sit here and I look at the things that I've achieved, even now I find it difficult to take stock. I find it difficult to recognise that, but in the past it didn't matter, because previously to me my value, my worth was tied to my weight. I had no self-confidence. But when I look at some of the things that I've achieved, it's astounding, especially considering the obstacles that I've had. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm literally a doctor, but even now, like, my mum will be like, oh, but, like, look what you've achieved, and I'll just be like, you know, like, it doesn't count. Like, that's silly, that is. Even now, I do find it really difficult to acknowledge my achievements, because when I actually look at it on paper, it's stunning. Like, the stuff that I've achieved is amazing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was the first person in my family to go to uni. I'm literally a doctor. But even now, I just don't see it as, when I look back and I look at the obstacles and the challenges that I've faced, and I look at the absolute graft that I've put in and how far I've come, it is astounding. But, you know, if you'd have asked me 18 months ago, 2 years ago, I wasn't asked, because to me my entire value was linked to my weight and I was miserable. Number 5, it can be lonely. Now, I'm lucky because I know people in my personal life that are on their own weight loss health journeys, and obviously also I've got you guys. However, I do think the very experience of growing up fat, of being obese, I do think that can be quite isolating. Even if you know other obese people, everyone's got their own unique experiences and their own unique challenges. And so even though you may know other people that are on a weight loss journey, a health journey, you may know other people who take Mounjaro, at times it can still feel very lonely. And I think part of that is because even though we relate on so many levels, a lot of us have had very similar experiences. A lot of in my mind, a lot of the sort of fat mentality, you feel very isolated, and a lot of the trauma, a lot of our experiences are unique to us. And I think as somebody who's my entire life tried to lose weight, that can feel very lonely. Even if you know other people that are in a similar boat as you, I don't know how to describe it. You do kind of feel like you're on your own, because you have this constant battle with yourself when you've been trying to lose weight your entire life. So even if you do know other people, and I'm very lucky that I've got this community and that I know people in my own life that I can talk to about it, but if you don't have that as well, that can be especially isolating. And even if, because obviously being obese, a lot of us will share the same experiences, but it is still unique to you. And there are times, especially when you're struggling or you see other people losing weight and you've stalled, or you're not quite getting where you want, or you feel sort of frustrated with yourself, that can feel quite isolating and quite lonely. So even if you do have people around you, I think it can be a very lonely experience, because everyone's weight loss journey, everyone's health journey is different, and there are challenges that are unique to you. Not everyone is the same. I know it's such a cliche, but it is true. Everyone's individual battles are their own. Thank you very much for joining me today, guys. I feel like I'm going to have to get an Uber to work. I don't know why I've just looked at my wrist. I don't have a watch. I lost my Fitbit. I don't have time to tell you the story, but I lost it a few months ago. So now I'm saving up because, anyway, I think I'm going to have to get an Uber to work, which doesn't fit with my essentials only budget. But thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you very much for watching me. If any of you can relate to anything that I've said, or if anyone's got any other opinions or ideas or anything that you've experienced, let me know in the comments. But please subscribe to my channel, because it really helps me out, and it is nice to have this community that I can speak to, that I can get support from. I don't know, maybe I just crave external validation. Love you guys, see you later.